The people who are voting for Kamala Harris, even though I'm not going to vote for her, are not my enemy. They are American citizens who've made some decisions and some choices. Thank God they're able to do that. I disagree with their choices because I disagree with her vision for America. Well, I disagree with the fact that she doesn't have a vision, first of all, and she's afraid to talk about it, too cowardly to go on the press.
You weren't moved by what you heard on CNN the other night?
No. It's just shocking. I mean, it's just shocking.
It's
horrifying. But they're entitled to what they think. So I thought, yes, I'm going to say to me, the only thing I thought about was, I would say to you this, let's forget, they expect me to come out here and go, Kamala Harris slept her way to the middle and checked boxes to the top and she never got a single vote. She doesn't know what she's talking about and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say horrible things like that about Kamala Harris because it's unbecoming of me as a gentleman. So let's just throw it back in the box. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to slip out. How am I doing? How am I doing so far?
You're acing it.
But let's just say this. Let's talk about the America she wants, and let's talk about the America that Donald Trump wants. So it's this simple. If you want another 20 million illegal aliens to come across the border unvetted, okay, unvaccinated, unaccounted for. If you love fentanyl, if you love tuberculosis, if you love cartel crime, if you love sex trafficking of children and so on, then vote for her again. If you want a secure border, you want a secure military, then there's somebody else you can vote for.
Aren't you moved by he's a fascist? He's threatening to unleash the military.
I'm moved by it. Yeah, you know why I'm moved by it? Here's why. The man almost had his head blown off by a Democrat assassin. There was a second opportunity for it to happen. And here's what I can tell you. In a political election, when you say somebody's Hitler, yet another trans killer or some other demented Democrat killer is going to say, oh, I've got my walking papers. Because let me tell you something. Someone said, I can take you on a time machine and I can put you back in Nazi Germany. And here's a gun and you can kill Hitler and save millions of lives. I think it's a moral obligation to do it. And there's some crazy Democrat in some mother's basement somewhere wearing a tutu, loading up a rifle saying, you know what, this guy's Hitler. Kamala Harris just told me that.
You can't say it's not possible. We've seen it too many times now.
Yeah, they're engineering it. They're engineering another assassination, and it's absolutely reprehensible.
They've completely abandoned all the, we really need to tone down the rhetoric after Trump nearly got his head blown off. Listen to Hillary Clinton. Trump is making a speech next week at Madison Square Garden. That's his closing argument.
She's already called it the Nazi rally.
Yeah, take a listen to Hillary Clinton.
And, one other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it.
And they won't. I'll give you one more. Steve Colbert doubling down on the same messaging.
It's just a coincidence. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that in 1939, they held a pro-Nazi rally there. Yeah. It was a stain on MSG's history. And last night, Anderson Cooper asked Kamala Harris point blank what she thought.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Bam. Thank you. Kamala Harris is not afraid. No hesitation.
Okay, that last guy literally said, and I'm quoting him, literally called Donald Trump Putin's cock holster. Okay, so after 2 years of a complete and utter hoax, wasting America's time and tax money.
Trying to ruin his first administration.
And went a long way to do it. People like this spew the mantra of the DNC. They all say the same thing. They don't even bother to change the words. And they're trying to destroy it again. They're so desperate now, they're going to start talking about Nazi rallies, and they all say the same thing. It's embarrassing. They were wrong then. 5 people have been censured in the House of Representatives. One of them was the officially censured liar, Adam Schiff, who promoted the hoax, along with his fluffers, like these 2 clowns that you just showed us. And they're just acting like clowns. I mean, Nazi rally and so on. Let's talk about those visions that these people have. Okay? You want to talk about a threat to democracy? Let's get a candidate who's never had a single vote. Let's just perform a coup d'etat on a walking corpse who spends his time on the Delaware beach, but is nonetheless still the rightfully elected, possibly, president of the United States. And we'll just throw him under the bus, and we'll shoehorn in a completely unqualified, unelected, unnominated candidate. I suppose they used lawfare somehow to squeeze around the edges of the reality, who's talking about, let's have reparations, for example, coming from a family of slave owners.
Yeah.
And I say this coming from a family that fought in the American Revolution. Okay, so I think I have probably a pretty good valid position to be able to say that, a person descended from a family of slave owners really doesn't need to tell me that I owe reparations to people who were, in fact, never slaves. Right. And I certainly never owned them myself. So, here's what they do. It's the Saul Alinsky trick. Whatever it is you're guilty of, we're going to blame you.
Yeah.
And you can feel it coming.
There is a lot at stake in this upcoming election, but regardless of who's sitting in the White House, the fuse on the economy has already been lit. Every 4 years, a conservative might win, but that's not enough to turn around the tide on our $35 trillion national debt. And if the left wins, it's like throwing gas on a dumpster fire. One thing you could do is to diversify your savings into gold with the help of Birch Gold Group. For millennia, gold has stood firm in the face of greedy governments, economic upheavals, and global strife, and it can protect you now. Birch Gold will help you convert an IRA or a 401k into an IRA in physical gold, tax-free and penalty-free, and it doesn't cost you a cent out of pocket. In the past 4 years, the buying power of the U.S. dollar has declined. The price of gold has gone up. Text MK to 989898 to get your info kit. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.